So first we'll begin with the, general cases. I'm saying general cases. Then I'll come across with next part to discuss. Whenever we come up with introduction to .NET, first we'll target something related to software. Okay. And a general definition to it you find is collection of programs. And then when you say how software is derived, then you can say derived in two types. In that, one is categorized as packages and the other is called languages. Two categories. Languages may, I'll just give a reference to like example of how you call packages. Packages may, one will be MS Office, one will be databases, games, etc. These all are examples of packages. When I go to languages, these all are examples of languages. That includes C, C++, our subject, C#.NET, then VB.NET, then Python. These all are examples of what? Languages. Then keeping these two scenarios in view, on what basis these two are segregated? What is the factor on which these packages, languages are derived in types? What are those factors? So here comes. Packages, no doubt, they are softwares. Okay. But packages always will support to achieve, used to achieve what? Specific task. Whereas languages are not meant for that. Languages will do multiple tasks. That is the reason why we say that language is nothing but medium of communication with a device, that is computer, through set of instructions, that is called program, right? And then we go with those things. Set of instruction that will include what? Unprocessed, processing, and processed instruction. Includes unprocessed, processing, processed. That is how you describe the language. This is what I said, specific task. You take any example of package, you can find that they are meant for doing specific job. Example is MS Word. MS Word is meant for documentation. No other task you achieve with MS Word. Excel, specific task, right? PowerPoint, specific task. Okay. Now, another important thing under this category, what is important for me is when you classify these types of languages, types of languages. Here, two things are important. These are general. I'm not going to talk on that. Just a classification I'm giving. Low-level language, middle-level language. But for me, something important under languages is that you should know about something called machine language. This is important for me. .NET needs this. C language needs this. C++ needs this. Java needs this. Almost every programming language requires this. What? Machine language. What do you call this machine language? Yeah, one point. It is called what? Native code language. Yeah. Native code language. And another interesting thing that you find is format of machine language. Format of machine language differs from what? Differs from one OS to another OS. It means native code of Windows is different. Native code of Linux is different. Native code of Android is different. Native code of iOS is different. Native code of Mac is different. Okay, there's the reason format of OS differs from what? One OS to another OS. Right? And one more thing, you better can say like every OS contains specific machine language instruction set. Specific machine language instruction set. Okay. Now, one more interesting thing that you find, especially about this machine language, you can say, example I'm giving so that you can understand easily. .exe file copied from Windows OS. From where it is copied? From Windows OS. Where do you copy? Linux OS. .exe file copied from Windows OS to Linux OS will not allow what? Execution. Will not allow execution. Why? Why it will not allow execution? Reason is since native code is different. You understand? It means if it is an exe file generated in Windows, it can run only on Windows. If you try to dump into some other operating system, because native code of that OS is different from Windows, so execution will not happen. That is what you refer as, what do you call that? Hence, it is called platform dependent. Yeah. This is one overview about the introduction. Now remember one more thing. In order to learn .NET to any area of .NET, these are the two things that you need to know about before even I start what C#.NET. What are they? Let me just mention important terms. One is called platform and second is called framework. You should know these two. Now, can you say me what is platform here? What am I referring to platform? What do you mean by platform?
Different OS.
Okay, that is one point. Okay, what about you, Gopi? What is that you have idea about this platform? Okay, let me make this thing clear for you. Remember one thing, not necessary platform should be always related to OS. Not necessary. And remember, even in terms when you talk about this term, towards interview point of view, towards a usage point of view, implementation point of view. So not necessary that platform should be always an example of what? OS. No. Meaning of platform changes from one application to another application. Okay, what is the meaning? Fine, I'll do one thing. Before I write the definition of platform, let me just show you what exactly and how exactly the platform actually works. Let me draw that small architecture. See here. You know about this, right? Every machine's base layer, every machine's base layer is hardware. Okay. Okay, this is base layer. Hardware. Whether you take about your laptop or you take your tablet or you take your mobile or you take Linux, any machine, base layer is always what? Hardware. Okay. On that hardware, you have second layer, that which you call as OS. Now I can say that OS, for OS, hardware becomes platform. For OS, hardware becomes platform. And one more thing, not only OS, for OS hardware is platform, even for, we have one special code, assembly code. Even for assembly code also, hardware is platform. So it means indirectly I can say now, what? Hardware is a platform for assembly code and what? OS. What is assembly code? That which is developed in assembly language. What is that programming called? Assembly code programming. What do you call that? That is called device driver programming. Okay, that is nothing but whatever drivers that you come across at various devices, printer drivers, pen drive drivers, scanner drivers, whichever hardware related you find drivers, those drivers are nothing but program written in assembly language. And what do you call that? Assembly code. Indirectly, that programs are working for a specific hardware component. That is the reason I said for assembly code as well as for OS. For both of them, hardware is platform. Whereas in the third layer, when you go to the third layer, here we actually come up with two things now. Two things. And here the thing that we highlight is related with something called C++. Here, what is it? C++. And remember, for C++ code, OS is platform. For C++ code, what is platform? OS. OS is platform. And for OS, what is a platform? Hardware is platform. So obviously, if something is asked in even in interview point of view, like what is platform, at least by seeing this, you can make clear point that OS is not the example of platform, because you can see very clearly hardware is also one platform, OS is one platform. Similarly, when you go to fourth layer, this is about two subjects I'll compare so that you could easily make out what we are actually talking about. One end I'll say .NET code, one end. Okay, let me make two things here. .NET code, and second thing is Java code. Two things we'll compare. Yes, two things. Yeah, on one end I'll write .NET code. On another end I'll write Java code. Okay, by going through this, now you can understand that whenever you develop an application in .NET, it's quite very clear now, and that point is .NET code OS cannot understand directly, as C++ code OS is understanding directly. Same way में Java code also OS cannot understand directly. No. Who cannot understand? Java. OS cannot understand that code directly. So what we are provided is for .NET Core, Microsoft has provided one platform. And that platform is called .NET Framework. And for Java code, they provided one platform called JRE. .NET Framework, and this is JRE. Yes. Now, at least by seeing this, you can come to a conclusion that we have come across these four platforms now. Hardware is platform, OS is platform, JRE is platform, .NET Framework is also platform. So now the content goes like this now. You develop a .NET code, hand over it to .NET Framework. .NET Framework will take that code to OS. OS will run that code on the hardware. Same story for Java code. Develop a program in Java, hand over it to JRE. JRE will take the code to OS. OS will run that code on hardware. Now remember, platform, as I said now, OS cannot be an example of platform. No, whether it is one OS or multiple OS cannot be an example of platform. These many things are there to justify now. We got JRE as platform, .NET Framework is different platforms are there. Now, keeping this architecture in view, let me define framework. How do you define? Sorry, about platform. What is it? Platform is an environment to develop and deploy, execute applications. Yes. This is how you define what? Platform. Platform is an environment to develop and deploy application. This is how you define platform. And obviously, you could very clearly notice now in my definition, I am not talking about operating system. Nowhere in the definition it's related to what OS, because the meaning of platform changes from one application to another application. Yes. Okay, going forward, as I said, another important point to study, that which is connected with the second important term, that is platform. Definition already I mentioned here. Okay, this is all about platform. Now we'll talk on framework. See, how do you define a framework is, how do you define is, you can say ready to use collection of classes and interfaces. Yes. So it means .NET software provides you ready-made classes and interfaces. What is your job? Yeah, used to develop what a particular type of application. That is how you define framework. Means we are provided by ready-made things by .NET software, and using those ready-made things, we are going to develop our what specific or particular type of what application. That is how these two terms are important for us to begin any content related to .NET. Especially even if you're planning to go with C#.NET as an initial subject to learn as a language, compulsory. Even in that case, you should know these two terms clearly. Now, keeping all these fundamental concepts in view, let me come up with introduction to Visual C#.NET. Now, let me come up with the classification of these terms, please. Visual is what? Graphics. C# is what? Something called C family. C family. And dot is in a dot. Is called what? What is dot called? Classifier. Classifier. And then net. You got two expansions for it. Official term, which Microsoft calls network. And user described term on the same network, that is called N called network, E called enable, T called technology. That is how the things work on this expansion of our subject. Visual C#.NET. Okay. Now something related with first, let me talk on, like when I say classifier, the dot you wrote, not .NET. What is dot? I said classifier. What is the meaning of classifier? Classification. .NET classification. What is .NET classification? C# is 1, VB is 1, ASP is 1, F# is 1, VC++ is 1. This is the classification you have. .NET classification of .NET. C# is one of the classification in that. Now, keeping these 4 points in view, you describe in this way what it is: a product of Microsoft, 1 point highlighted, then introduced in the year 2002, right, as .NET 1.0 version, and then developed by Anders Hillsberg, HELJSBERG, Anders Hillsberg. 4 things we highlighted: year in which it is developed, product of company, .NET version, and who developed it. That is what we can classify it to introduction part of our C#.NET. And especially when I use this word C family, this includes all these things. One, C language. One subject. Second, C++ language. And then C#.NET language. Three are there. C#.NET language. And remember, even if you talk about this, in the classification part, this was in 1972. This was. And this was in 1982. And this is in 2002. So between C and C++, there is a gap of 10 years. Between C++ and C#, we got a gap of 20 years. And remember one more thing, between C++ and C#, there is one more language that was there by name Java. The name actually starts with J. For that reason, we are not talking about Java here. Otherwise, 1992, Java was introduced. So in purpose of not writing Java in this C family concept, because its name starts with J, for that reason, we omitted it. Otherwise, we would have mentioned even Java in our development concept of this total hierarchy. But actually, C, all are starting with C. For that reason, I said it would be a C family. And another interesting thing that you could find here, especially C++, when I say, this is always expanded like this. C++, which means complete C language we have in C++, plus one additional, plus new programming technique is introduced. That is called OOPS programming is introduced in C++ language. That was in 1982. It's combination of two things, C plus OOPS. And what about C#.NET? Yeah, that was in 2002. And remember, this C# is actually called in this way, C++ plus additional feature. It means what? C#.NET includes complete C++ plus additional feature. And what is that additional feature? That additional feature, many are there. The most highlighted, the most popular, the most required concept for this C#.NET is APIs required, APIs introduced, application program interfaces. Yeah. Now going forward, keeping this basic point to study, now we go with second thing, that C#.NET is what? Simple, modern, and simple to learn, simple to understand, modern, all technologies, whatever, all the things that we need for an application development needed as per today's concepts are concerned, these all are available in what? C#, modern programming language. Okay, it is general purpose used language, general purpose used language, plus it is object oriented programming language. Yes. Simple language, modern language, general purpose used language, object oriented programming language. Okay. And what for the C# is meant for what? Yes, I say used to develop what? Two types of applications, console and window based what? Applications. Yes. Obviously, I won't say a web application because C# is not meant for web application development. It's a language used to develop console and what? Window based. That window based is something related with desktop applications. Desktop application. One thing is there. What is it? This C#.NET can be used in combination. Yes, combination with what? ASP.NET to create what? Web applications. It means you can use C#.NET in ASP.NET, and then that ASP.NET will support you to develop what? Web applications. So now can I connect like this? Can I connect like this? To learn C#.NET, there is no prerequisite. No. Even I don't say that you should have knowledge of C, you should have knowledge of C++, then only you can learn C#. No, I'm saying that C#.NET independently alone can be learned. Can be learned. You don't need to have any prerequisites, because when we take up patches connecting with C#.NET, even to a corporate training, obviously we will start from scratch. We will start from the basics. Then slowly we'll enter into, object-oriented programming. From there, we enter into window-based programming. From there, we'll go to ADO.NET. So on, things will be discussed. Right? So I'm not saying that compulsory you should know C, C++, then only you can learn C#.NET. No. I can rather say that to learn C#.NET, no prerequisite. If you have knowledge on C, C++, it is an added advantage for you. If you don't have, nothing to worry. Even then you can learn C#.NET directly. And but to learn ASP.NET, as compulsory one language is needed to develop ASP.NET in a web application using ASP.NET. So for that reason, remember, for ASP.NET, one language is compulsory, either C#.NET or VB.NET. Compulsory. It means for ASP.NET, there is a prerequisite. For ASP.NET, there is a prerequisite. What is the prerequisite? Compulsory, you should have knowledge of what? C#.NET or VB.NET. Now, going further, keeping this point in view, this is normal point. C#.NET is, case sensitive. Right? It's compiler-based language. And it is syntax-based language. Basic points on this. Okay. Now, keeping all these things in view, since it's like we got only very less students. So for that reason, what I'll do,